Okay, so we know that proteasome inhibitors is a main drug category with significant activity in the treatment of myeloma. Bortezomib was the first-in-class proteasome inhibitor to be approved for myeloma 10 years ago. And since then, especially over the last few years, we have several second-generation inhibitors and their targets, as you can see here. And the first second-generation proteasome inhibitor is calfizomib. Calfizomib is an agent that has been approved by FDA for the treatment of relapsed refractory myeloma. And this is the study which led to the approval of calfizomib, a large phase 2 trial, which included patients who were pretreated with bortezomib and with an immunomodulatory agent and were resistant to the most recent treatment. The main objective of the study was response, and this study confirmed that calfizomib as a single agent was active in approximately 35% of patients with myeloma if one considers minor responses as well. The duration of response was 8 months. The overall PFS, the median PFS was 3.7 months, and the overall survival of the patients were 15.6 months. The toxicity of single-agent calfizomib is shown here. The hematologic toxicity is very similar to what we can see with bortezomib, with reversible neutropenia and thrombocytopenia occurring in a quarter of the patients or less. Other toxicities of interest is lack of peripheral neuropathy, but some patients, about 1 to 2%, may develop renal dysfunction, which is sometimes difficult to differentiate from active myeloma, and in some patients you may have some cardiac dysfunction, as was the case of the patient that I presented to you. Another important trial which has completed accrual, and actually we have the preliminary analysis, is the Endeavor trial. This is a trial which included more than 900 patients, 1 to 3 prior lines of therapy, who were randomized to receive either bortezomib, dexamethasone, as you can see here, or calfizomib at a higher dose with dexamethasone. In both arms, the treatment was continued until there was evidence of disease progression. The trial will be presented at ASCO. The hazard ratio is 0.53, and there is a doubling of the PFS from 9 months with VD to 18 months with KD, and this, of course, is a very clinically important result. Another important trial with calfizomib has been recently published. This is the combination of calfizomib with lenalidomide and dexamethasone. In this prospective randomized trial, again, 1 to 3 prior lines of therapy. Patients received either Len-Dex continuously or K-Len-Dex, KRD. Calfizomib was given for 18 months, and then patients continued with lenalidomide and dexamethasone. This particular trial showed a significant improvement of PFS, almost by 8 months, in favor of KRD, and also a very high complete response rate, 30%, in patients receiving KRD. These are data that we have not seen before in the relapsed myeloma setting. The overall survival curves are shown here with a trend for a survival benefit in favor of KRD. As far as toxicities are concerned, it was reassuring to see that hematologic toxicity was not worse by adding calfizomib to lenalidomide dexamethasone, and you can see some other toxicities. Hypertension was more frequent with KRD, and also there was 1% difference in the cardiac toxicity in the KRD arm. Also, calfizomib has been combined with pomalidomide and low-dose dexamethasone in the far advanced patients with relapsed refractory myeloma. Again, these drugs could be given at the full doses, and here you can see the response rate, which is 70% with a PFS of 10 months and a median survival exceeding 18 months. So these figures are clearly superior to what can achieve with either pomalidomide dexamethasone or calfizomib alone. And this treatment was again well tolerated without excessive myelosuppression when calfizomib and pomalidomide were added. Calfizomib is being used in the frontline setting. Already yesterday there were some data presented on the combination of calfizomib with thalidomide and dexamethasone as induction treatment for patients who are candidates for high-dose therapy, and then with consolidation treatment for another 4 courses. These are the data that have been presented and updated this year by Peter Sonneveld at ASH. You can see that with the KTD combination, you can achieve a very high response rate, especially complete remissions even in high-risk patients. Another trial that has been given to patients who are not eligible to high-dose therapy is the administration of calfizomib given weekly instead of 2 consecutive days with oral cyclophosphamide and low-dose dexamethasone. And again, this trial started as twice-weekly calfizomib, then weekly calfizomib. You can see that responses were very high. Almost all patients responded, and also approximately 40% of patients achieved near complete response or complete response. And although the follow-up is short, you can see very encouraging PFS and overall survival curves. The Clarion trial is compared, because the accrual is completed, VMP as the standard with KMP in order to see head-to-head whether calfizomib could be a better partner than bortezomib in combination with melphalan and prednisone. Let's move now to other proteasome inhibitors. We have 2 oral agents. One is oprozomib. Oprozomib is a clearly active oral proteasome inhibitor. However, its use has been complicated by significant gastrointestinal toxicity. There have been several small phase 2 studies in an attempt to see whether oprozomib is better tolerated given on 2 consecutive days every week or 5 consecutive days every 2 weeks. And also there have been changes in the formulation of oprozomib. Overall, the take-home message is that oprozomib can be active in approximately 30% of the patients with relapsed and refractory myeloma, and also has shown activity in some patients who have failed bortezomib, and also a handful of patients who have progressed through calfizomib. However, its further development is difficult unless we can solve the problem of gastrointestinal tolerance of the drug. Ixazomib is the second oral proteasome inhibitor. This agent has a favorable toxicity profile. It is not associated with significant neurotoxicity. Neurotoxicity can occur in some patients, but it is not as severe as with bortezomib. There is some gastrointestinal intolerance, but this can be prevented with adequate treatment. Myelosuppression is usually mild, and approximately 10% of the patients may develop some skin reaction. Single-agent ixazomib has a modest activity. In some phase 2 studies, there were some partial responses. In others, there were only minor responses. and this is the toxicity profile that I mentioned. However, ixazomib is a good partner to be combined with lenalidomide and dexamethasone, and there is a frontline study in older patients with myeloma who was recently published in Lancet Oncology. In this particular trial, patients started with ixazomib, lenalidomide, dexamethasone, and continued with ixazomib as maintenance. And the interesting observation from this trial is that ixazomib, given for a long period of time, was able to convert some patients who did not respond to responders or increased the depth of response. And these were the toxicities during the long-term administration of ixazomib were tolerated with manageable myelosuppression in some patients. Ixazomib is being also evaluated in combination with lenalidomide dexamethasone versus lenalidomide dexamethasone in the relapse setting, and already there has been an announcement, a preliminary announcement by Takeda that the trial is positive, and we await the full disclosures of the results. And also there is a large prospective randomized trial of ixazomib being administered as maintenance after high-dose therapy versus placebo in order to see in that setting what would be the value of this proteasome inhibitor. To conclude, proteasome inhibitors are important drugs in the treatment of myeloma. Bortezomib has been instrumental in the improvement of the survival of patients with myeloma, but today we have at least 3 newer proteasome inhibitor, carfilzomib, who is likely to be approved also in Europe in the relapse setting based on the ENDEAVOR trial. Also ixazomib, who is likely to be approved in the next year or so, again in the relapse setting, and oprozomib with some difficulties in its development. And with that, I would like to thank you very much